and we will get started. Good morning. I am Ms. Heald. I am the College and Career Advisor at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. Every high school has this position, and as I said, if you don't know who it is, check with your counselor. And today we are going to have a presentation from Mr. Mortimer, who is the College and Career Advisor at Clarksburg High School. We also have Ms. Wolk, who's the College and Career Advisor at Rockville High School. And I am going to let Mr. Mortimer introduce himself, talk about his background in athletic recruiting, and take it from there. At the end, we will answer questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. All right, it's all yours, Mr. Mortimer.
All right, thank you, Kate. So I'm very excited to be here today. The goals for today are to give you guys a better understanding of the college format, with the associations and the divisions and how that dictates scholarship dollars, right? We don't want you guys reaching out to schools that don't have athletic scholarship money when that's what you're searching for, right? A little bit about my background. I've coached college basketball all around the country. I grew up in Wheaton. I grew up down county, played basketball my whole entire life. And I was fortunate enough to receive a basketball scholarship to college. If you look at the colleges that I coached at, you'll see NCAA Division I at the very top for Hagerstown Community College. Those are your junior colleges. Those are your two-year community colleges for NCAA. And then University of Bridgeport was a Division II NCAA school, which is our four-year universities. Linden State College was a D3 NCAA school, which was a state college. Garden City in Kansas, University of District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. I pretty much coached at every level except Division I NCAA and NAIA. So what is the associations that college fall under and what divisions? So we have three primarily. We have the NCAA, which is your National College Athletic Association. We have your NAIA, which is your National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics. Both of those are four-year colleges. And then your NJCAA is your National Junior College Athletic Association. Those are your two-year colleges. Now, within all three of those organizations, you have different divisions, except NAIA. NAIA does not have any divisions no longer. They did away with that about 4 years ago. So when we look at these organizations and the divisions, how does that correlate to scholarship dollars? So when we look at Division I NCAA, that's the goal for a lot of kids out there. They have full scholarships. And when we talk about scholarships, we're mostly talking about tuition and books, and we're talking about housing and meals. Those are the two big things, right? If they're paying for both, that's a full scholarship. When we go down to Division II NCAA and we talk about athletic scholarship money, Division II NCAA is very interesting because you do not know what those college scholarship budgets are. They can vary. I've been at schools that were Division II that had full scholarships, everything paid for. I've been at Division II schools where we had very little athletic money. So you do not know what those scholarship amounts are at the Division II NCAA, but you do know that if they have the funds available, they can offer full scholarships based on policy, if they have the funds available. When we go to Division III NCAA, once again, those are four-year colleges. Division III NCAA does not give out athletic aid. They do not give out athletic scholarships. But keep in mind that college coaches at the D3 level usually will know someone within admissions or financial aid or somewhere where they have a little bit of pull, right? So just because they don't offer athletic aid does not mean that they can't figure out other ways to get you funds for college. Division I NJCAA, those are your junior colleges. In the state of Maryland, we have 5 Division I NJCAAs amongst the 17 Maryland community colleges. One of them I was a head coach at Hagerstown Community College. We were considered a Division I NJCAA. I will tell you right now, when I was at Hagerstown, our recruiting budget, we did not have full scholarships. But if we did have full scholarships, we could offer those full scholarships, right? Based on policy, because we were considered Division I NJCAA. Now, when you drop down to Division II NJCAA, they can offer one or the other, right? So they can either offer tuition and books, a full scholarship for tuition and books, or a full scholarship for housing and meals. In most cases, what you'll find is they'll offer a full scholarship for tuition and books, and then you'll have to cover housing and meals. With most NJCAA schools, if you receive the Max Pell Grant, which is around $7,400, that will cover your housing and meals, right? Division III NJCAA are, once again, your community colleges at the Division III level. Based off policy, they cannot offer any athletic scholarship aid. And then finally, we have your NAIA colleges. In this part of the country, there's not many. We have Washington Adventist, which is an NAIA school. And you do not know, once again, what an NAIA scholarship budget is. But if they do have the money, they can give you a full scholarship. I will say, when you're trying to figure out, what schools have scholarship money, you can always hop on the rosters. And a good indicator, this isn't always 100% true, but a good indicator is if you start to see a lot of student athletes on rosters from other parts of the world, that's a good indicator that they have a lot of scholarship money at that school, athletic scholarship money at that school. And once on the star, keep in mind, these are policies, right? This is what these organizations and divisions can offer at the max amount. That does not mean that they have it, but if they did have it, they could offer that. So when you're looking to receive athletic scholarship money, just keep that in mind. Next, we want to talk about the clearinghouse, which determines the eligibility coming out of high school, whether or not you're eligible for that association and division. So when we talk about Division I NCAA, four-year schools, they do have a clearinghouse that you must register for in order to receive athletic aid from that Division I institution. Division II NCAA, they also have an eligibility center. The rules are different. We will go over the rules on the next slide or here, the next slide or two. But once again, you must register for the clearinghouse for Division II NCAA athletic scholarships. For Division III NCAA, there is a clearinghouse, but it is optional. You do not, if you go to a Division III school, you do not have to go through the eligibility center in order to play at that Division III NCAA school. The NJCAA, your junior colleges, there is no clearinghouse. All you have to worry about is getting accepted to the school, and you can receive whatever athletic aid that they offer you. For your NAIA colleges, there is a clearinghouse. You must register. The rules on that are different as well, but we will go over that. Just remember that the eligibility centers for NCAA Division I, Division II, and the NAIA determine your eligibility coming out of high school, and that determines whether or not you can receive that athletic scholarship. All right. We're flying through this. Okay, so NCAA Eligibility Center clearinghouse for the NCAA. So Division I, they talk about these 16 core classes and that you have to have a 2.3 GPA in your 16 core classes to qualify coming out of high school. Keep in mind, when you pull up your transcript at high school and you look at your GPA, that is not the GPA that the NCAA is looking at. They will take your high school transcript and they will recalculate your GPA based off your 16 core classes. Division II NCAA, well, you see, for Division I NCAA, you must have a 2.3, minimum of a 2.3 GPA for those 16 core classes. For Division II NCAA, you must have a 2.2 GPA in your 16 core classes. There's something they talk about, the 10-7 rule in the NCAA clearinghouse. That 10-7 rule basically says that you have to have your 10 core classes done before the beginning of your senior year. So for example, If you have 9 core classes at the end of your junior year and you're shy one, you can take that core class in the summertime and it will count towards those 10 core classes. This is a rule only for Division I NCAAs. The 10 stands for the 10 core classes, and the 7 stands for the 7th semester, which is the first semester of your senior year. So 10-7 rule. Once again, that does not apply to Division II NCAA schools. You can take as many core credits as you want. There's not a timetable. In addition, if you're coming out of high school and you want to go Division I, and maybe you don't have the interest or you're not eligible, right? Say you're shy a core class. For mostly football and basketball, prep school is a big thing. You can go to prep school and you can replace one core class on your high school transcript. The only exception to that is if you're documented with a learning disability before you graduate high school, you can replace up to 3 core classes on your 16 core classes. We've linked in the MCPS course list. So if you click on the MCPS course list, I know you can't click on it on the slide right now. We will send these slides. It is in the chat right now at the very top of the chat. If you click on the MCPS course list, it will show you all classes that MCPS offers, and it will show you the ones that the NCAA has accredited, and it'll show you the very few that we offer that the NCAA has not accredited. So keep that in mind. NAIA eligibility. So the way NAIA, you must have a 2.0 by the time you graduate. Keep in mind, that is not based on the 16 core classes. NAIA bases their clearinghouse on your overall high school transcript GPA. So that is a big difference between the NCAA and the NAIA. But you still must have those 16 core classes. Keep that in mind. The NJCAA, your community colleges, like we spoke about earlier, they do not have a clearinghouse. So as long as you get accepted, you can receive an athletic scholarship. Okay, so this is a 16 on the left, is a list of your 16 core classes. This is the worksheet. So if you take your high school transcript and you send it into the NCAA clearinghouse, the NCAA clearinghouse will work off of this worksheet. They will start to plug your classes in. So at the very top, you see you have to have 4 years of English. So your English 9, English 10, English 11, English 12. They will start to plug those classes into those slots, and that will determine your 16 core classes and the GPA, which you have received over your high school career. On the right, you will see this is the MCPS core list. This is I just took math as an example. You will see Algebra 1. That is math. On the left, you see you have 3 years of math required for your 16 core classes. You can take your high school transcript and you can look up your math courses. So if you took Algebra 1, you want to go to your MCPS course list. You want to look at Algebra 1, and you will see that to the right of it, it is NCAA approved, right? There are very few classes that MCPS offers that are not approved, but you will see related mathematics. That is one that the NCAA is not approved. So it is very important when you're in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, you really want to pull up the NCAA worksheet and fill it in yourself and understand the requirements of what the NCAA expects of you, right? Because keep in mind, everyone doesn't have a background in NCAA eligibility requirements. But if you have this sheet and you're working off this sheet, when it comes time to schedule your classes and meet with your counselor, you can take this sheet to your high school counselor, and you can tell your high school counselor your goal of becoming an NCAA athlete, and these are the requirements that would help you tremendously. At the bottom right, this is just an example of your 16 core class schedule over the 4 years. I personally, so the 16 core classes that you're looking at on the left of the screen, that is from the NCAA's website. If you look at it under English, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots, right? But if you take English for 4 years, it's broken down 2 semesters per year. So you really need 8 slots. So I don't really like to work off this worksheet. I prefer to, give me 1 second to work off of this worksheet. I just want you guys to see what it looks like. This link is also in the top of the chat. So you would click on the link and you would come down to NCAA Worksheet. You would click on it. It will download it. You will open it up. Hopefully this will work. Here we go. And as you can see, it will give you every section. And now you see there's more slots, right? So English semester 1, you would put in the credit. We base our credits and GPA off a 4.0 scale for the NCAA clearinghouse. So that being said, an A is worth 4 points, a B is worth 3 points, a C is worth 2. So for example, when we come to credits, we'll put in a half a credit because it's 1 semester. For it to be a whole credit, it has to be 2 semesters. So the first semester of English 9, I would receive an A. So therefore, on the scale, the worth of it would be 4 points. It will automatically calculate the quality points, right? So then second semester, 0.5 credits, I receive a C, and a C on the grading point scale is worth 2 points. So we would fill in a 2 here, and you basically would take the high school transcript and you would plug in all these classes and requirements. It's very important for freshmen and sophomore and young kids in their high school career to keep in mind that these grades do count and they will catch up with you whether or not they're good grades or bad grades. So I would suggest if your goal is to become an NCAA athlete, you really want to nail down from the very beginning. These grades, I cannot emphasize enough how many kids I've come across where their junior year and senior year, they have amazing grades, but because of their 9th and 10th grade years, they are not eligible for an athletic scholarship and they lose out on the opportunity. So make sure from the very beginning, you're focused on your academics. And then at the very bottom of this, it will calculate your total GPA. Right now, this is just based off of the few grades that we've put in, which makes sense because the first grade was an A, the second grade was a C, the average of 4 and 2 is a 3, right? So our core GPA right now is a 3.0. But you really, I really hope that you guys will print out a copy and keep this for your personal records and fill it out as you go on in your high school career. All right, let me get back to the presentation. Okay. All right, college recruiting trends. I will say it's very hard for high school athletes to get scholarships right now. What's happening is we have a transfer portal, right? So these D1 athletes, after the season is over, they're deciding to transfer. There are a lot of opportunities, especially financial opportunities at the D1 level, why kids transfer. And that's mostly revolves around at the bottom, your NIL / collective money. For the big time athletes who are good enough, there is a lot of money outside of your normal traditional scholarship that they can receive. So therefore, you see a lot of kids in the transfer portal. And this has a trickle down effect. So when we look at the recruiting college preference, keep in mind that this preference is based off of that college coach's school profile, right? So every school profile is different. I talked to one of my buddies at American University the other day. He coaches basketball there. He has 6 freshmen, right? But that's an abnormality. That is not the regular circumstance. Right now, you can see that number one, these college coaches at the D1 level and even at the D2 NCAA level are waiting on that college transfer portal to open up, and they're trying to sign older kids who have already been coached in a Division I program that they know have experience and are physically older and more developed. They're looking at those kids and they are trying to get those kids. So because of that, there's a trickle down effect, right? Your junior college players and prep school players kind of got to stand by and wait for the dominoes to fall within the transfer portal. Once that takes place, then your junior colleges, your prep schools, and finally your high school players are being looked at, right? So it is very important when we talk about college athletics and coming out of high school to keep an open mind. It is very hard for high school players to receive scholarships. It just is. It's the best of the best that get these scholarships, but that does not mean it's not possible. But there is a trickle down effect, and because of that trickle down effect, everything is taking place later than normal, right? So scholarships are being offered either super early in, like 10th grade, or super late after 12th grade, after your season is completed in 12th grade. Because of the NIL opportunities at the higher level, you're seeing that it's more transactional based now than relationship based. It just is what it is. I guess some college coaches, if it's going to come down to money, they want to know how much the Division I athlete expects to receive, and either they have it in their budget or they don't. So that's usually one of the first questions at the very highest levels that they're asking. Hey, what is the amount of NIL money or collective money that you're looking to receive? Okay, benefits of targeting local schools. So we're in Maryland. We have 17 community colleges that have basketball and soccer and baseball and various sports, right? Those schools are going to be a lot easier to get to your high school games and to build a relationship with than your out of area colleges. In addition, some of the best things going on for Maryland residents, we have our Maryland Guaranteed Access Grant. That is huge. It is very easy to create a MD CAPS profile, which makes you automatically eligible for this grant, along with completing your financial aid. That's $18,000. That's $9,000 a semester. I've had kids in the past who have received the Maryland Access Grant for $18,000 and have received the Pell Grant for $7,400. That's $25,400. $25,400 can pay for everything at a Bowie State, Morgan State, Frostburg State. But just keep in mind that that Maryland Guaranteed Access Grant money stays in Maryland. That money does not leave Maryland. So keep that in mind. The Maryland Promise Scholarship, that is another great scholarship. Once again, all you do is complete your MD-CAPS account profile and your financial aid, and you're automatically thrown into the hat for the Maryland Promise Scholarship. That is a full tuition scholarship to your local community college. The only catch to that, so if I'm a Montgomery County resident and I receive the Maryland Promise Scholarship, that is going to be for Montgomery College. But the only loophole to that is if there's a degree that you're seeking that Montgomery College does not offer, but another Maryland community college does offer, then you can take that Maryland Promise Scholarship to another community college outside of your home county. Also, keep in mind, we have scholarship money and we have recruiting budgets, right? So my whole college coaching career, I worked at lower levels, and at some schools I had full scholarships for athletics and some schools I didn't. One D2 school, I had full athletic scholarships, but our recruiting budget was not much. So this, you want to turn into a strength for yourself, right? So if you know there's a school somewhere in the middle of the country that has full scholarships, but they don't have the recruiting budget to fly to the state of Maryland to recruit you, right? And in addition to that, At the same time, their college season is going on. Your high school season is running at the same time, right? So they're focused on their college season. They don't have the recruiting budget to come see you. So a lot of the opportunities that you can receive are relationship driven, right? We're going to talk about it on the next slide, how to reach out to those college coaches and get them interested in you. But just keep in mind, just because a school has a full athletic scholarship does not mean that they have the recruiting budget to come fly to watch you play in your games. But that money is available and everybody is facing that same obstacle. So just keep that in mind. March 1st, that's the deadline for FAFSA and MD caps for seniors. Do not try to hop on FAFSA or MD caps right now and mess with any of that. Wait until the senior year, until your senior year starts, and your CCIC will be in contact with you to help you give you instructions on how to complete the MD caps and your FAFSA. And just once again, the Maryland Guaranteed Access Grant and Promise Scholarship, Maryland money stays in Maryland. You cannot take that to colleges outside the state of Maryland. So always keep that in mind. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the college coaching athletic jargon or phrases that college coaches will use. So sometimes a college coach will be recruiting you and they'll offer you a scholarship. And they'll see that you've received the Max Pell Grant, which is, you know, $7,396, $7,400, right? And the college coach will see that and see that that will cover your housing and your 19 meals a week, right? Your room and board. And then they will give you a full tuition and book scholarship. So when they say zero you out, well, look, I can zero you out. That means basically you will not have a remaining balance. That's what zeroing you out means in college terminology. We also have, you know, this one can go, the phrase full scholarships, right? If a college coach says, hey, I have a full scholarship for you. Well, that can mean one of two things. That can mean that they're paying for everything, right? Your room and board and your tuition and books. They're paying for all of that. And they're allowing you to keep your Pell Grant, which is around $3,700 per semester, right? They allow you to keep that in your pocket at some schools, right? Who have full scholarships, you know, who have that funding. And then there are some college coaches who will say, I'll give you a full scholarship, but they're not going to give you back your Pell Grant. They're going to use your Pell Grant for whatever remaining balance you have to go towards that, right? So when you start to, if you're fortunate enough to get into conversations with college coaches and they're offering you athletic scholarships, that is something you want to ask. Hey, coach, I hear you want to give me a full scholarship. Will I get to keep my Pell Grant, or is that something that the college keeps, right? Because that could be a game changer. If you have 2 or 3 colleges that are offering you full scholarships, maybe only one of the 3 schools is allowing you to keep the Pell Grant, which is $3,700 per semester. So in my opinion, that's a serious consideration, and that is a question that you definitely want to ask. Rollover. What does rollover mean? So if a college coach tells you, hey, you know, this is mostly a state school thing, right? So if you go to an out-of-state school, whether it's a 4-year school or a 2-year school, some college coaches are able to roll you over second semester from out-of-state to in-state. Some college coaches are not allowed to. Some colleges do not do that. Some colleges are able to roll you over your second year of college from an out-of-state to an in-state tuition student. So when you get in these conversations with these college coaches from 4-year or 2-year state schools, you always want to ask what the rollover policy is. Hey, coach, do you roll over kids second semester or second year from out of state to in-state tuition? That's a big difference in the cost of the college. And that is something you definitely want to ask. As far as the actual scholarship, so when a college coach is talking to you about a scholarship and you think it sounds good, if you're really interested and you really want that scholarship, you want to verbally commit and say, hey, coach, I like the way everything sounds. I want to come to your school. Once you say that, that's when the college coach will send you your letter of intent, your scholarship. They will not send you a scholarship until you verbally commit. So just keep that in mind. And this is a first come, first serve, right? So when a college offers you a scholarship for whatever your sport is, whatever your position is, just keep in mind they're offering that same scholarship to other student athletes. So a lot of times it comes down to the first student who says, yes, I want that scholarship. So just keep that in mind in the process. How to gain interest from college coaches. So you always want to be honest with coaches. A lot of times, if a college coach reaches out to you and calls you, one of the first questions they'll ask you is, "Hey, what other colleges are looking at you?" Be very honest with that question. If you sit there and say, "Bowie State is looking at me," or "Bowie State has offered me," right? When you get out of that conversation, just keep in mind that that college coach knows coaches over at Bowie State. And there is a high probability that they might reach out to the Bowie State coaching staff and say, hey, what do you think about this kid? Yada, yada, yada. I heard you're offering him. And if Bowie State says, no, we are not offering that student, that is not a good look for you. Make sure to be honest in your conversation with college coaches. I cannot emphasize on that enough. Be completely honest. Cast a wide net and start with your local colleges of all levels. Obviously, your local colleges are going to be easier to get into your games and your practices, right? Proximity, they're closer. They can make it happen if they want to make it happen, right? So you may have a goal in your mind that you want to play Division I NCAA or Division II NCAA, and there might be a D3 college or a junior college or an NAIA school, a level that you don't want to play at that comes knocking on your door. Make sure you do not blow off that college coach. You want to keep that relationship with that college coach. If a college coach wants you out of high school, that means something. Always keep in mind that college coaches jump all the time from one college to another college, from one college level to another college level, from a non-scholarship college to a fully funded scholarship college. Keep those things in mind. Relationships, they are first and foremost when it comes to athletic scholarships and college opportunities in general to play college athletics. Ask coaches. Don't be scared to ask coaches how you can, when you reach out to college coaches, let them know you're interested in their school and ask them, hey, how can I be evaluated? What do you suggest for me to do to get evaluated by your staff, right? And they'll make suggestions. They'll probably tell you based on what your sport is, popular, showcases, tournaments, ways that they go about evaluating kids, right? I will say this, when it comes to summer camps, right? Like certain organizations will do summer camps or evaluation events, tournaments. Try to stick with the tournaments and showcases and camps that take place on college campuses. There are a lot of showcases that are ran that necessarily will not get you any exposure. They're just kind of like trying to make money, right? So just keep that in mind. You really want to do your due diligence and your research on those events and make sure that college coaches are going to be at those events. So for football, for example, I was talking to a football college coach the other day, and I was asking him like, hey, football, once the season's over, what else can kids do to get exposure? And he brought up, like Morgan State has a football camp in the summer where they invite kids. And he pointed out the fact that not only will the Morgan State football staff be there, but there will be other college football staffs at that camp. So that's why he made the comment to make sure that you're going to camps on college campuses. You know that there will be college coaches at those college camps. Also, when a college coach is trying to evaluate you and you're inviting them to your games, right? You want to make sure, you never know, right? But you can kind of predict the probabilities of how competitive a game is going to be. You do not want to invite a college coach to a blowout, whether or not you're on the positive side of that or the negative side. It is very hard to evaluate a prospective college athlete in a non-competitive game, right? So make sure when you're inviting them to games that you're looking at your schedule and you're trying to do the best that you can to invite those college coaches to competitive games. That's very important. Also, if you're playing against a team who has student athletes who are signed to Division I, Division II scholarships, those are great games to invite college coaches to, because now they can see you going up against a kid who's already signed a full scholarship to college. So it's an easier way for them to make an evaluation and feel comfortable with their decision. Also, you'll come across kids in your high school that have received athletic scholarships. Ask them their process. Hey, how did you get hooked up with that scholarship? Who who introduced you to the college coach? Those are important questions, because sometimes you'll find that there are people who are well connected that help student athletes. You want to try to get in contact. Oh, well, there was this guy who helped me. He's been helping place college athletes all around the country for 15, 20 years. Um, he runs an organization, a company, whatever the circumstances are. Well, am I able to reach out to that person for those contacts for the college coaches? Sure. So you want to do your research and ask as many questions as possible. When you email college coaches, email is the traditional way to reach out to college coaches. Make sure when you email college coaches, you are not sending out an email with 10, 20, 30 college coaches on the same email. I will tell you right now, as a former college coach, any email I ever saw with a chain of college coaches on the email, I did not read. I did not read. Remember, every college coach wants to feel like they're getting a gem in the rough, a diamond in the rough, right? You do not want to reach out in mass emails to college coaches. Make sure if there's a school you're interested in, send them a individual email. I cannot emphasize on that enough. In that email, obviously, you want to have the name of your high school, highlight tape, some game tape, your contact information. And if you can put your high school transcript, I would definitely attach my high school transcript if I had strong academics, right? Right now, college coaches' number one social media that they're using is Twitter. If you have a Twitter account and you have, say, football uses a huddle profile in most cases, right? You want to pin your huddle profile to the top of your Twitter. So no matter what you tweet, when they're on your profile, your huddle account is always at the very top. It's easy access. Your huddle account should have your phone number, your height, your position, your weight, have all the essential information, and it's right there for college coaches to find. Rising seniors, when the FAFSA opens up October 1st for seniors, you definitely want to focus on that right away. There are some colleges around the country that, based on policy, they cannot offer you an athletic scholarship until their financial aid office has received your completed FAFSA. So keep that in mind. Once again, it is first come, first serve for college athletic scholarships. So if a college coach is saying he wants to offer you an athletic scholarship and he's saying the same thing to another kid, but the other kid has completed his FAFSA, he can sign that scholarship now, where you can't because your FAFSA is not completed. So keep that in mind. Also, another thing, based regionally where we are, and you're trying to reach out to colleges outside the area, you want to look at college game day schedules, right? A lot of times, one or two college coaches from the college staff will come to the state of Maryland a day or two before their game sometimes, right? So, for example, this year, the CIAA basketball tournament was held in Baltimore, right? So these are Division II NCAAs, some of which have full athletic scholarships that are all up and down the East Coast, right? You know that they're going to be in town that week, right? You want to reach out to them 2-3 days, a week before, and invite them to your games. That is a strategy that can work for you and pay great dividends. So look at your sport and the college you're interested in and look at their schedule. You know, schools from New York, schools from Georgia, you know, schools from North Carolina, they will come to Maryland sometimes and play Maryland colleges. You want to reach out to them and see if you can get them in your gym or on your field, whatever your sport is. Things not to do. Okay, some of this is self-explanatory, but I do want to go over this because I have had experiences where a student athlete was on the brink of receiving a full athletic scholarship, and unfortunately, because something was said or done, they missed out on that opportunity. So we want to keep some things in mind, right? If you're talking to a college coach and you're saying, hey, I want to commit to your college, but if a better scholarship comes along, am I able to receive the better scholarship? That is a big no-no. Do not do that. Coaches want students who are committed to them, who want to be a part of their program. If they hear that comment, that will not sit well with a college coach, and it will be an instant red flag, and it can cause you to lose your scholarship. Obviously, be careful on what you post on social media. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Only post on social media what you want people to find. I will tell you right now, college coaches will find your social media no matter how much no matter what. So just keep that in mind. They will be looking at your social media and you will not know it. So only post what you think is acceptable. Don't sit back and wait for colleges to find you, right? Like, that's not always going to take place. Be proactive, reach out to college coaches, um, and do your best to try to self-promote yourself for these opportunities, right? Everything is relationship driven. Um, and I will say this, aside from emails, some of these smaller colleges, when you go to the athletic staff directory and they have phone numbers, a lot of people assume, and in most cases this is true, but not all cases, that that phone number for that coach is to their office. I will tell you right now, there are some small colleges that with that phone number that's listed is to their cell phone. So keep that in mind. That's instant access, right? You can shoot a text, you can call the coach. So you also want to try to maximize your opportunities by looking at athletic staff directories and getting contact phone numbers and leaving voicemails for those college coaches, you know, showing your interest. Um, do not ask about guaranteed playing time. This is not high school. This is not middle school. Do not ask college coaches about guaranteed playing time. That is an instant red flag, and it can cause you to lose out on a scholarship. I firsthand experience. I do not ask about guaranteed playing time. You can ask about, hey, how do you see me fitting in your rotation? You can ask questions like that, but do not ask about guaranteed playing time. Do not ask college coaches about transferring after your first year and how it works. Well, hey, coach, if I come to your school the first year, how does it work for me to transfer out? That is another big no-no. That's an instant red flag. Um, when college coaches invest a scholarship in you, they are hoping that you are going to be there for the 4 years. If there's an inclination that you're going to transfer out the first year before you already get there, that's a big no-no. Shy away from the red shirt question. A red shirt is a year where you practice with the team, you work out with the team, but you do not play in the games. Um, that question is based on timeline. Um, if I were you, I would suggest not. If the coach brings it up, then okay, fine. But if you're bringing up the question of, hey, coach, is there a possibility I could come there and redshirt my first year? A college coach is going to hear that, and maybe one of the first things that pops in their mind is, hey, are they trying, is he trying to tell me, or is she trying to tell me that she doesn't think she's good enough to play here the first year, right? So definitely shy away from that question unless the college coach brings it up to you. In addition to that, when we're talking about all the levels outside of Division I, when we're talking about Division II, NCAA, NAIA, and NJCAA, and those colleges who have those athletic scholarships, they do not have a ton of athletic scholarships. So if they're investing an athletic scholarship in you, they are expecting you to play your first year. Keep that in mind. Just other things to keep in mind. Does the college have dorms, or is it off-campus housing? I've been at colleges, I've worked at colleges where we don't have dorms, we have off-campus housing. Off-campus housing can get a little tricky, right? Because you're signing a lease with 2, 3, 4 other student athletes, right? If one of those people who sign the lease for some reason are unable to pay their rent, I have seen situations where the whole house, townhouse, apartment can be evicted, right? So just make sure you're going into it with other students who are responsible, who are going to be able to pay their bills on time. You don't want to be in college and being evicted at the same time. That is not something you want to deal with. Another big thing to keep in mind, just because you receive an athletic scholarship for your first year of college, do not be under the belief that you're going to be set the following year. These athletic scholarships are annual, right? They do not have to sign you the second year. So make sure that you're doing everything correctly, showing up to practice on time, all your workouts, do not miss workouts, so that you can receive that scholarship the following year. Keep that in mind. They're renewable. They do not have to bring you back for the second year, okay? And that's pretty much it for this presentation. I'm going to open it up. You can use the chat room, or you can just hop on the video and ask any questions. I'm going to try to answer, maybe 5 or 10 questions. So go ahead and ask your questions. Chat room. Okay.
So the recording will be added to the workshop list that I added. If you don't have the workshop list, I put it in the chat a few minutes ago. Here, I'll put it in again. It'll be in the column next to where the Zoom link is. And Mr. Mortimer will also send me his slides so that you'll have access to links. Let me just put this in here. As soon as I get the Zoom download, I will add it to this workshop schedule.
And then there's a question in the chat. Does this information apply to soccer as well? Once again, you do not know the college budgets. If you go back to the second or third slide, it'll show you if they have the money available, what they can offer you if they have the money available. So there are full soccer scholarships at the Division II NCAA, the Division I NJCAA, NAIA level. There's also partial scholarships for soccer. So yes, there is scholarship money available for soccer. What grade do students apply for the grant? I'm assuming, and create an account. So I'm assuming we're talking about the Maryland Access Grant and the MD CAPS account. Those are both things that will take place during your senior year.
Yeah, unless schools track their students getting athletic scholarships, and we have to do it on a school by school basis. So I don't think, unless Denny, you have that information, how many students got athletic scholarships. I mean, I know how many got them at my school, but
Is that in the chat? I did not see that.
yeah, do you know how many students across MCPS have received athletic scholarships last year and past years? What levels, D1, et cetera?
Yeah, no, that is not information I have.
Yeah, me
I wish I did, but I do not have that information. And I guess that's it. Are there any other questions?
Any advice for prospective Division III athletes not looking for scholarships, but wanting to play in college at an academically selective school?
That is a great question. I am so glad that you asked that. So the business model for Division III NCAA schools, right? So there is a difference in the recruiting strategies of a Division III school. You will see at the private and state school level for Division III schools that they tend to over recruit. So, for example, I'll use basketball just for example. This applies to all sports across the board, but traditionally at a Division II, Division I NCAA school, you'll see roughly 15 kids on the roster, right? But when you go to a D3 school, sometimes you'll see up to 25 kids on the roster, right? They over recruit. Why do Division III schools over recruit? Number one, Division III schools cannot offer you athletic scholarship money. So what happens a lot of times at a Division III school is they wind up losing a good amount of their players compared to other levels, because when the student athlete gets there and realizes, hey, this is a full-time job, this is a lot different from high school, I want to go join this sorority or this sorority and I don't have the time, you know what, I'm just going to quit. That happens a lot at the Division III level, more so than any other level, right? Because they're not holding an athletic scholarship above those students' heads, right? So a lot of times when a student athlete is, they're good enough to play college, right? But the coach isn't quite sure whether or not they want to give them an opportunity at the D3 level. They will definitely take into consideration the way you carry yourself, your academic transcript, your support system. They will look at all of those things and say, you know what, we'll give them a shot, because we have 25 kids on the roster, we're going to lose some. So you do have a much better opportunity to play Division III, but a lot of it is relationship driven. You want to reach out to that college coach and tell them and let them know, like, hey, I really want to be a part of your program. You want to carry yourself well. You want to complete all your documentation on time. You want to let them know, hey, I already applied for your school. Let them know how serious you are. Show them your transcript, right? Hopefully you have strong grades. And a lot of the Division III decisions are relationship driven. So that was a great question.
All right, and the last is, are track running scholarships also aligning with this presentation?
In some cases, yes. In some cases, you will have full track scholarships, but sometimes they'll give you, say for like track, for example, if you have 40 kids on the roster, they may give you 20.5 scholarships, right? So then they divide those 20.5 scholarships up into partial scholarships. So it can be harder. It is harder to receive full scholarships for track than it is some other sports. It does happen. I had a kid this year who went to a college for track and basketball. So what they did in that situation was the track coach gave them a half a scholarship and the basketball coach gave them a half a scholarship, and they got a full scholarship. So yes, as far as what the schools can offer you and the division and associations, it still holds the same. It's still the same way. But once again, it comes down to, do they have the funds available? And if they have the funds available, what is the max based off that association and division's policy of what they can offer you? But there is less track money, track scholarships than other sports in some cases. But once again, there are full scholarships in track. You just gotta, you have to find them. You have to search.
Thank you. All right, and this is the last question. Do schools prefer highlights from school games or club games? Is there a preference?
That's based on your high school and your club. So a lot of times, say for soccer, right? Soccer has 2 or 3 different club organizations. The higher club organizations, they would probably prefer those game tapes as opposed to your high school game tapes, right? But on the flip end, if you're at an extremely competitive high school, they're going to want to prefer that. So that's situational based.
Great. Well, thank you. I've learned something. This is great advice. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording.